Hey coaches, it's good to be back. Sorry it's been a while since I've posted some video, but I wanted to update everybody with some things we did last season with our Jet series. And Jet continues to be, I would say, one of our base series in this offense. We changed things up a little bit last season. I thought it would be helpful to share with you some things that we did to try to improve our game there. We do think of Jet as a series and not just a play. And there are some interesting things you can consider as plays to mix in as part of this series, depending on how you approach alignment and formations. So let's get into it. First, I want to talk about how we approach blocking the base Jet play. I spent a lot of time off season last year studying Wes Elrod's Jet series and his approach to using outside count. And it worked really well. It worked for educating the other coaches. It worked for our key edge blockers and understanding their assignments. And I'm showing you a little bit here, but you really want to go to jetsweep.com and look at Coach Elrod's materials there and consider picking them up. They're not the most modern materials. You'll get, DVDs and some, photocopied errata and updates, but it's good stuff. And it's a really simple system. He's actually gone as far as to build an entire wing T based offense around this outside count. So he teaches how to block down and buck and other things. We really just use this for jet sweep because we often had issues figuring out which man to block when we were attacking the flank. The basic rules work great for anything that's more traditional wing T, but jet I just think it's a little bit different. And because of the way we approach some different formations and using the offset fullback, using the split end over, it helped us understand things a little bit more. So here you're seeing kind of our base outside count against, maybe a 4-4 or 4-2-5 type defense with a pretty traditional double wing T look, and how we approach counting players for jet. And we always start with who's our number one, and we sometimes might care about our zero man here, but typically with the jet, we're gonna avoid blocking this player, and if anything, just try to rip through him with a center. So we really focus on the 1 through 5 players here with some very specific assignments, and we always start with our end man on the line of scrimmage, or the mole, as Coach Elrod likes to call it. He's our Y, and we're going to look at the inside defender from him. So in this case, we've got our number one is going to be kind of a 7 tech that's right off that tight end. And we basically do a kind of a counterclockwise count around, always ending with number 5, who is going to be the play side linebacker. So usually you're going to have something like a defensive end that's usually going to be in a 3 or 4 point stance, then an outside linebacker in this case, a corner, a safety, and then our linebacker. And we want to make sure everybody's accounted for. So let's go ahead and continue on. Here's maybe a slightly different look, although things don't really change that much when we're offsetting the fullback, but you can kind of see some of the differences in maybe how the rules work out there. And let's look at our core jet sweep. Now, we usually wouldn't run the strong side jet sweep from this formation. We're almost always going to bring our end over. And the reason is that it just makes things easier, particularly against, this is 8th grade football. We do see some strong cornerbacks, but when we can bring that end over and take that cornerback really far out, it puts him in enough conflict with that receiver, and having, we'll still always have a passing game off of this, that we can almost just rely on the X being able to just stalk, block, and stay on, and really take that man where he wants to go, and usually even run him off the field. So you're basically taking that number 3 out when you bring the X over, and we'll see that when we look at the film. But you can see our rules here. This is our normal blocking scheme, and we're always gonna try to reach and get that Y on the number 1, get the Z, which is our wing back, on number 2, and our strong guard is gonna pull and always have his eyes on number 2 first to help if needed, but then get to that next man that he sees. So very often one of their best defenders is going to be that strong safety or outside linebacker that's playing there. And so you'll see us at times double teaming that guy with the guard. We do flip our line, and we always are going to have our Z being that strong side wing back. So he's almost like an H-back, blocking back type player. He will get the ball sometimes, but we rely on him mainly to down block on buck sweep, to go to backer on the down play, and to help block our jet sweep here. The H, he will block sometimes. He'll block on our lead play, but he is a primary running back. He's a featured running back on this offense, so he's going to be our main workhorse on jet sweep. This is a gut blocking option where instead of that strong guard pulling around the Y, we fold him right around that tackle. And this is if we find that stud linebacker or the Sam linebacker is making a lot of the plays. We might want to get on him a little bit faster. I can tell you we never called this during the season. We like to keep things simple. This is a weak side sweep where we offset the fullback, so you can kind of see how things change up a little bit here. Not too much. We still rely on that outside count. So the quick tackle in this case is going to be on number 1. Quick guard is going to pull and look around that number 2, who the H-back should be blocking, but he may need to help. And the fullback is kind of in that same position, and we can often get really good numbers here. Honestly, if our Z had been a little bit better about running full speed on this jet, this would have been a great play for us this year. We had a few cases where it worked, but we honestly couldn't trust him a lot of times to be fast enough. You have an option. This is an example of running out of over where you're going to crack the X. I can't think of a time when I called this last season, but you do have this option, particularly if you're going to split him not as wide. We would typically look to pull this guy way out, even outside the numbers, to bring that corner out and not even worry about cracking. And honestly, our X's were going to be some of our weaker blockers on the field anyway. So trusting him to block who might be our best defender wasn't always a great option. At the higher levels, you might have more success with that. So let's look at some of the counter options. And I'm going to show film on most of these. I don't have film on the trap play. I will show some film on lead and counter crisscross here in a little bit. So here's the traditional inside option off of the jet is you keep that fullback behind the quarterback and you run just classic guard trap. And nothing really changes. You're really hoping here for a really good jet sweep fake from that halfback, with the idea being we want to pull this linebacker and safety maybe towards the flank here, thinking that they've got jet coming to vacate there and make that, open up that interior just a little bit there. And this is, I would say, what most coaches look for as an inside option off of the jet. One of the passing options is just the jet pass, and we like to run a post wheel off of this. I might have some passing to show. I might add that onto the end. We'll see if we did a lot of passing out of this. Honestly, I can't remember. I think we were relying more on our quick passing game rather than when we were in that double wing formation, but let me check that, and I might add some film on that. But I want to show what was really our primary inside run play off of this, because we would often run with an offset fullback, and I just don't like running trap off of that. I don't think it hits hard enough, and that fullback's not in a great position. We like running lead, also known as ISO, or the weak side belly play. So we would run this primarily off of the weak side jet sweep fake. So we're relying on a good fake again, and hopefully clearing out the linebacker. And this is with a cross block. We would call X-ray for this. And you really run the play no different than the classic belly play. And the quarterback, his footwork almost doesn't need to change because the way that he opens up to fake that handoff to the wing back puts him in a great position for that belly play. And that fullback just takes, instead of doing a crossover step to the outside like he would coming from behind the fullback from the quarterback, he does the same thing coming to towards the quarterback. It's also worth mentioning a little bit of terminology here. Zip and hip are our jet motion calls. So we'll use that as a mix-in or tag in our play calling to just call for motion. Hip is jet motion from the halfback, the H. Zip is jet motion from the wingback or the Z. It's easy for them, whatever position they're in, we call hip or zip. They know they're in motion, and if it's a sweep play, they know they're getting the ball. In this case, they know that it's just a motion fake. So right, minus 65 zip lead. 60 is our jet series. 5 is the hole that we're attacking in this case, which is the weak side B gap. Left B gap, but it's also weak side here. And then zip is the motion and lead is the play. The last play I want to show is counter crisscross. This was almost a trick play for us in that we didn't call it very much, but I think we had really good success. In fact, in our semifinal game, I kind of regretted not calling this in a 2-point conversion play because I think we would have scored and probably would have won the game if I had done that. But don't we all do that as coaches in play calling? But I'll show some film for this. If you're getting a lot of mileage on jet and teams are starting to attack that and getting good at reading that handoff, this is a great counterplay. So we block this really just like any kind of weak side counterplay. So if you run down counter, I block it exactly the same way. So the strong guard is going to just pull to the weak side and stay tight and kick out the first man. In this case, we also use the fullback as a kick out player on that defensive end. All right, let's get to some film. Here you see this is let's see what the formation here is going to be, a left over. So left is our double wing, tight end left, and over tells our X to come over the tight end. And because we have weight restrictions for eligible receivers and ball carriers, we always flip our tight end and our quick tackle. So in this case, our tight end, the position player, is actually at the right end of the line in that quick tackle position. And so we've got 2 tackles on the strong side, which works to our advantage anyway because we generally are having better reach style blocking from this player anyway. So a couple teaching points here. And this is about mid-season. If we back that up just a little bit, that's pretty good motion. He could be going a little faster. We like to be full speed. The snap was about the right time, maybe a little later. But look how he bubbles right at the handoff, and we like that. We want him to have his eyes looking downfield, and he's looking right through his strong guard, who makes a pretty good pull. He gains or loses a little bit of ground, but quickly is making that turn. Notice that our wing right here, his job is to take this number 2 defender here, and he does a pretty good job. We had to really work with this player a lot. Look how right away his head looks back. He's not focused on his job, but he does a good enough job to hold him for long enough, but then he leaves him. So it starts off pretty good. I like how Our tackle here, who's really he's in the tight end position. Look how quickly he gets to this backer, misses him. But you know what? He washes him out enough that he's out of the play for a while and lets us get a pretty good gain here. Probably the best player on our team this year was this guard that you see, the kid who played our strong guard position. And this tandem of that halfback and guard, you would see this a lot throughout the season, just like this, with just a hand on the back, following his lead, and that's, this is an 8th grade player. I don't think you can ask much more than that right there from a player, and he sustains and just keeps driving his legs downfield. So that's a good football play right there. Here we're in a right over again, but we're in a minus, so we're slight offset here. He could probably be a little bit more to the side, and when he's in a minus position, that's telling that fullback that he's not going to fake trap, but that he's going to help lead block. This is a back that we had some challenges getting to full speed. You see kind of a jog there. I want to see him full speed, and he was a little bit worried about missing the handoff, and we put that on the quarterback. We want the back going full speed, so that's something just to drill and work with. In this case, I would say we fell off a lot from our strong guard to our quick guards. We had 2 quick guards, and in this case, the quick guard right here failed to even pull in this case, and there's just really no excuse. He just kind of stands up and blocks. Fortunately, we had the fullback helping to lead here. He's a good football player too, and does some pretty good work there downfield, getting on that guy and allowing him to get the outside edge. So you look back, that started on the 32, and he gets to about the 27-yard line or so. That's a 5-yard gain. We'll take that. That's a pretty good play. But obviously it would have been better if everybody had done their job. Here we're in the over position again. And so now you're going to see the jet sweep where we have the split end over. We'd like him to widen out even more. I really would have preferred to see him taking that all the way out to the numbers. The reason I wanted to show this clip is on that reach block from that halfback, we really want him working outside, but when he feels like that forced defender is going to fight too much to the outside, we'll take him out. And so he does, and look how good our strong guard is at seeing that and says, I'm just going to go up inside that. The halfback follows him, and just a great running lane. And that's just, that's hard to teach that for a running back. You've probably seen it yourself. Some players have it, some players don't, and he just did a really good job. See the hand on the guard again there. Great job following his block, finding the space and getting into the end zone there. Okay, here's I'm pretty sure this is a broken play. We are in a left formation. So this is the weak side jet sweep with the offset fullback. And in this case, we get a run through because of a fail block by this quick tackle here. And you start to get the understanding that we had a pretty strong side of our line, but we fell off pretty hard with some of these quick side. We were hiding some players there from time to time. And this guy's job here is to step out and reach on this guy. And he just stands straight up and lets him just go right through. And when you get that kind of penetration, you're going to see plays like that. So, everybody's got to do their job. If he just gets his helmet across this player and forces him to cut inside, we probably have a pretty good football play there still. All right, but I got to show the good and the bad, right? Here's another missed assignment. In this case, our quick guard here again fails to pull. And we're relying on just this fullback to pick up this linebacker and fails. So you can see why we probably had a lot more success running with our halfback to the strong side around that strong guard. it just was better personnel, and we just had a better chance of outmatching. All right, so what do we have here? We've got this is going to be counter criss-cross, and let me run through this once. I had some notes in here for the players. So this is our 63 jet counter criss-cross. First handoff, fullback is kind of starts on a trap line, but then is going to kick out that defensive end. Our quick tackle, who is this player right here, just needs to be down blocking, and because we need to trust that this guy is going to get blocked by the fullback, and that this guy is right here is going to get taken by our pulling guard, and so he just gets a little bit hung up and doesn't stay on his block and tries to then turn out. It worked out okay in the end, but if that defensive tackle right here had been stronger, it would not have worked out. But a pretty good football play. You can see we really caught them off guard there. Here's our lead play, which I promised to show some film. So lead is belly cross block, or just weak side belly play ISO, and we're faking the sweep this way from this back right here, and it's going to be just everything else is the same. So it's an easy install. Once you've installed this play, the only thing different is you're just running this guy in jet motion instead of faking the belly sweep. You're just faking the jet sweep. We like, I want him to fake a little bit more. I like to see him bubble and run to the sideline, but let's just look at that one more time. I would say if you look at this middle linebacker right here, we caught him following the jet motion. This guy, he kept his eyes on his assignment and did a pretty good job of staying home, but still was good enough that we got a pretty good gain on that. One more example. This was what we think was probably our biggest win of the season against a really good rival team that we've had some troubles with the last few years. And we ran this lead play a lot because we were running clock, and jet was successful, and we were able to just ride our fullback with this play quite a bit. So they're keyed to that jet motion. You can see even the linebacker calling motion, which alerts this guy, and watch him step outside. He's really worried about that jet, which just helps open up that inside play a little more. Not a great play, but when you're trying to run clock and extend drives, we love a whole long series of 5-yard plays, and that's what we were getting. Okay, so again, jet series, pick an inside play. If you're not offsetting the fullback, I'd say that's probably going to be trap. You could run a traditional counter play, but I think jet counter criss-cross is the best counter to run, just because teams, they're going to see that initial handoff, and that's going to draw a lot of defenders. So if you can work on that double handoff play, I think that's just one of the best counter plays you can run in the situation. And when we're offsetting that fullback, we love running that lead play. Okay, I promised to share a little more film if I found it. And here's a couple of jet pass plays. And technically we call this keep pass because it's really the classic belly keep pass. But when you combine that with jet motion, you can think of it as a jet pass, and big conflict for that flank defender or the flat defender, because we're gonna drop the wing into maybe a 3-yard out, and the jet back is going to be straight out in a flare in the flat, and usually one of the two is going to be open. So here you can see us dump it to that play side wing. Worked out great there. Big touchdown play for us. And here's another example. Same player or the same position player. Jet motion. And that wing just gets lost there a lot of the time because he's trying to come up and defend that jet sweep. So hope that helps out. If you have questions, leave them below in the comments and I'll respond. But hopefully this helps you get ready for the coming season. Take care.